And boom goes the Primarch Dynamite. Yep, Guilliman's coming, and there's a lot more in here that we need to talk about.
Spiky bits.
Alright, welcome back, Hobby Maniacs. Rob Baer here again with you today, going over the brand new White Dwarf. This is March 2017, and this is some groundbreaking stuff right here. The very first plastic Loyalist Primarch, of course, we saw Daemon Primarch Magnus come out just a few months ago, but now we got Guilliman, we got a new Triumvirate. Who knows when they're gonna stop doing these things, but you know, it seems to be working, and it is following along with the End Times format from Warhammer Fantasy. But don't get it twisted, I don't think they're gonna blow up the world or anything like that. They're not a bunch of dummies. It's a completely different company, even from where we were a year and a half ago. So, opening it up, you can see the staff right here, and kicking it over to the content section, there is a lot of stuff going on. This is basically a Hobby YOLO edition, where there's just so much hobby content in here, we're not going to be able to show it to you all. There isn't a Blanjitsu article, which normally you do see one in here, which is really interesting too. But there's a lot of stuff in here. Of course, you've got all the spoilers and the teasers on Guilliman himself, along with Validus, and of course, Cypher. There's a battle report in here, pitting the new, brand spanking new Age of Sigmar Sigmarines, Stormcast Eternals, against some Nurgle stuff, I think it was. Forget. I skipped over it. I did not read through it. I'm going to have to put a pin in that one and come back. And then, of course, Planet Warhammer. But even maybe perhaps more curiouser is the fact that they lead in here with this Titanicus. And they say it's going to be bigger and smaller than you think. But then when you flip to page 19, it's an ad. And on page 20, there's two Black Library novels that are re-releases on Titanicus. So there's nothing in here about Titanicus, but it says it's going to be bigger and smaller than you think. Now, a lot of GW stores are telling folks, throwing the date out there of 4/22, which is one of the confirmed dates the Games Workshop told their folks not to take off at the game stores. The independent stockists didn't get no such notification, but all the managers of the GW corporate stores did. Also in this issue is a Great Templar Distort, which we're not really going to cover, but there is some sprues and glue on how they converted up the Fallen Dark Angels. The Paint Splatter article is a step-by-step guide to Guilliman himself. And then it goes into some really cool tips and tactics on painting things like scratched armor and canopies and weathering ports or viewports and weathering different surfaces. It's a really good tutorial section. So all the hobby stuff in the back is great. I'm loving it. There's a bunch of other stuff here in the middle, like a Golden Demon showcase. It's pretty good. The diorama they did for Guilliman was really spectacular. Obviously, they're selling the crap out of this miniature. I hope they ordered enough, because we saw with the Prospero book, they did not order enough, at least on the Forge World side. So here's the previews of Guilliman. We know there is a new book. We know there is a new Triumvirate. The book will be 50. The Triumvirate will be 90. There he is right there. And he's got his father's flaming sword. And then, of course, as we alluded to in the future, it's going to be a Guardians of the Galaxy type endeavor where they have to go here to do this, and then here to do this, and here to do this. And finally, they end up on a Holy Terra, and Guilliman is pretty much just disillusioned with the whole thing. But don't forget, there is Shadows over Hammerhall, just came out last week. And, of course, some new releases as well. It looks like they may or may not have actually known when this stuff was going to pop out, because it says available now, and of course they knew that this was coming out towards the end of the month. Remember, they only give the new releases for the first 2 weeks of the month, and then they rely on their spoilers and their teasers through their Facebook and giving pictures out to other folks and releasing them throughout some backdoor connections that we've seen throughout the past years to get them out onto the net. And then they come on and they do their whole spiel where they're like, hey, look at this, you know, insert cheesy but yet effective video review or, you know, teaser about it here, which is great. I love seeing their stuff, and that's very clever marketing and something that we have just started recently seeing on the part of the Warhammer team over there on Warhammer TV. So that's awesome, and I love it. It's very exciting. It's very engrossing. But now they're going back and showing, hey, these are the releases that were the week before. So that's pretty cool. And then, of course, the new releases, the Raptors this week, and then we've got the Death Watch and the Gene Stealer Hybrid upgrade sprues, both for $12.50. And I think, oh, nope, two more things. The Tartaros Terminators and the Mark III Space Marines, straight out of Battle for Prospero itself. They are mimicking the release of the Betrayal of Calth. Of course, those Cataphractii Terminators, I believe, are the same price, $60, yep. And the Mark IIIs are the same price as the Mark IVs, both at $50. So now they're available separately, but no word currently on the Sisters of Battle, or maybe more importantly, the Plastic Custodes as their own release. And of course, there is Blood Bowl merchandise coming out this week as well. The Reekism Raiders, the Blood Bowl Ogre, and we also have a comparison with Graka and Grumbleberry 2 over on a separate video. We will be putting those up here shortly, right about the same time as this video. And then, of course, there is some little special rules there. So, and Slambo came out too, in case you missed it. And then here's page 19, which doesn't exist. Page 20 has Titanicus and Titan, the Titan novel, and then Titanicus, which was both great novels. I've read them both, love them. That's it. That is all for the new releases. And of course, Inferno is sold out until April. And Middle Earth Roundup. Then it gets into a page of advertising for the new book, etc., etc. Now, let's talk about features in this book here. There's a ton of great stuff. Let's just flip through it real quick. The Tale of Four Gamers is back. This time they're doing 40K, kicking that off. And judging by the backdrop right here for the issue of White Dwarf, which I believe this particular issue of White Dwarf was about 3 months ago, I want to say. So this was recorded at least 6 months ago, maybe before Christmas. Hard to say exactly, but we all know that they run about three months in advance. So if this was 3 months ago, they were working on a different White Dwarf for sure right there. And then the big fold-out poster of Guilliman and all of the Guilliman saga right there. And look, Martius Calgar, he is guarding the door. He's like, you can't get to my prom art. Well, there he is. It's going to be interesting to see how that one plays out. Like, Guilliman's going to be like, yo, you want me to guard the door? What do you want me to do? I got 2 fists, and I'm ready to use them. I'm itching to use them for sure. More stuff that we've already seen on Guilliman. And then here's that diorama detail, which is fantastic. Custom sculpted up and everything. Awesome. I love that stuff. It's always cool seeing that rich hobby content. There is a feature in here on Armies of the Imperium, basically talking about a whole bunch of different, well, all of the different types. And remember, just like we're up to like 23 supplements right now. It's crazy. Gathering the Host, a whole nother great section in here of basically putting your armies together for Armies on Showcase. And let's see, what else do we want to show you? Lots and lots of cool. Oh, here's the battle report for Sigmar. So it was... yep, it was Nurgle Destruction versus the Age of Sigmar Stormcast Marines. That may or may not be a real thing. Then it gets into, where is it? Special Rooster Camera, Sprues and Glue on making some Fallen Dark Angels, Super Kit Bash. Then the feature on Paint Splatter, which is glorious in my opinion. Like, we've seen how to paint Ultramarines before, but this really gets into the nitty gritty. It's 3 pages on to how to paint your own Guilliman, right? Right from the hair, to the flesh, to the flaming sword, to the armor, even to the little censer, burner bearers, braziers on his back. And then it gets into textures, and this is the following section where it teaches you or breaks down a lot of how to paint different textures, from scratch metal to pelts to hides to hair to rough scales to crests, all sorts of stuff in here, but it is in here, and then they explain it a little bit more in this section right here. So tons and tons and tons of good hobby content is in this particular, and it doesn't stop there. All of this right here, it's great. It's great stuff. And then taking it even further, they talk about more and more things right there. Now, fast forward to the back of the book. I think this is definitely a must-have pickup. You will notice that there is a section in the back on Adeptus Titanicus as well. So if I was a betting man, which I like to hedge my bets, but I am a betting man, next month we'll see another Adeptus Titanicus feature. I wonder what that could be. A video game, or perhaps the brand new boxed game, which would be the first time we've seen it since it was released back in the early 90s. Of course, it started out as Space Marine, turned over to... actually, I think it came out as a boxed 2-player game called Adeptus Titanicus. Then Space Marine was introduced, which basically became the Epic that we know today, and then Epic Armageddon in the early 2000s. I think that's how it went. Sometimes you gotta have a crazy flowchart to keep up with all the stuff Games Workshop puts out and the order they put it out. Now, long story short, obviously Guilliman is a fantastic looking miniature. Cypher and Valdor, or Validus, whichever name it is right there. Grey Knight dudes, dude-mans, duders. Looking great. Can't wait to get this box in our hands. Of course, we will have it next week. Now, we will be doing a lot of promotions for the Triumvirates. You can also probably score one of the Triumvirates by becoming a Patreon of ours here and supporting all of our video features that we do. All you have to do is go over to patreon.com/spikybits and find out all the particular details over there and what promotion we have going currently. If we can get our hands on some of the new Guilliman ones, we will definitely be kicking those back to all of our supporters in the month of March as well. So lots and lots of excitement here around the studio. Thank you so much for watching this. This was a blast to record, and of course I pretty much read the whole issue cover to cover. I think this is a must-have issue for sure, and I can't wait to bring you our very first feature on the actual models of the new Triumvirate of the Primarch.
Deleted scenes, bonus content, and all the interviews and post-game wrap-up videos can be located in the Hall of Veterans on thelongwar.net. Visit thelongwar.net today and try a week completely free with no strings attached. That's not all. Thelongwar.net is also your hobby resource for exclusive early access with an ad-free experience to all your favorite videos. Members of the Hall of Veterans gain early exclusive access to multiple hobby videos.